Hi guys. I am doing like an extremely impromptu video about the Comet Neowise because I see it coming up, the effects of Neowise coming up over and over and over again. So I actually have like a multi-part video about this comet, but I really have to start from the beginning of the story. So I have to do a short video about Neowise first. And if you want to hear how I believe this is changing actually the character and nature and story of several other fixed stars up there, just subscribe to follow this particular storyline. So Comet Neowise, if you don't know the background on that, was actually discovered on March 27th, 2020. It was detected by and I do have notes on this part because I wanted to get the facts right, by the Near Earth Object Wide Infrared Survey Explorer 2020. That's NASA, so they named it Neowise. For many people, including myself, astrology is very literal. So when I heard the name being Neowise, I was like, Neowise. Now, I've never seen the Matrix movies actually, but I do know that people, the main character's name is Neo, and he talks about, seeing reality on just purely the physical plane, or seeing reality for what it is, that you're a spiritual body, that you're part of the oneness of everything. So considering it was called Neowise, it's actually one of the first celestial bodies that I actually did any meditation or asking about. So I'm going to tell you what Neowise means, so that we can work on that story into the future. So Neowise first was discovered, first of all, on March 27th, 2020, which numerologically is a 5, which indicates change. When astrologically, when a comet comes in, comets, a lot of the ancients used to fear comets because it does indicate a time of great change, sudden change to happen on Earth. And I think we can agree, just by that comet being discovered on that date, that we did have great changes coming, especially in the US where I live. That's really when the coronavirus started and the lockdowns started. And Neowise really has more to the corona story. I don't know if I get to that in the video today, but just the alignments as I've looked at it as well, really calls on the original message that I get, which I'll give you today. Now, NASA indicates that Neowise will not be visible again for 6,800 years. So another 5, indicating that it came in with a change and it's going out with a change. Like when it left, it's affecting a change on Earth. It was first viewable as a morning star, which is a rising star, which is significant in astrology as well, on July 3rd, 2020. Now that July 3rd date has a fixed star pertinent to it as well. It's actually a fixed star that is in our nation's chart. It's also a fixed star that's in my wedding chart, so I resonate with that. I know about that fixed star. So that's another part of the story. But today I'm just going to really strike on the messages that I got, because that's really what Neowise as a comet is all about. So the first messages I got about Neowise is that it is from our ancients, our ancestors. Like literally, I saw my mother there, but then also groups of ancestors. And then with Neowise, I got that it was going to reveal, because I asked what Neowise, so it's a gift from our ancestors, something our ancestors are bringing to us at this time. And I asked what Neowise will bring us. And what I got was a a bird up in the sky, being able to see, and I was shown a big picture. So with Neowise, it's bringing truths, awakening, if you will, prophecy, but also reconciling of stories, being able to see the light and the dark, being able to see the full side of the stories. And I was really getting a reconciliation, even of our ancient tribes and our ancient, like I live where the Lakota lived. And I've been getting a lot of things about them lately. So there's going to be a reconciliation with the story they were given. They're going to be risen up, and I'm getting truth chills, specifically because Neowise is bringing knowledge. Neowise is bringing awakening about those that were persecuted, held down, and instead of like striking out, instead of making that chaos, turned instead to the divine and just did their good works, and like that. And so those stories are being reconciled. Those stories are being shown. Those stories are being lit up with Neowise, lit up like a comet, like the story is being revealed now. Also with Neowise, I got that kings, and I'm giving you the specific words because it'll make sense later. I literally got that kings, the kings that rule, and I got iron or gold crowns, would not fall, but like just get too tired of trying to carry. I guess the crowns are too heavy. So being able to carry the weight of just being held and motivated by the material world would bring those kings or people or leaders down. And I was actually seeing them going into water. So water to me represents emotions. So what I got from that is that people that are led, people that were led to kind of rule over others in a way that for material gain would be brought down, but they were going into water. So that revealed to me that they would go into their emotions, that they may have some hardships, they may have some falls, they may have some emotional trauma, getting used to the idea that we're no longer going to be motivated, or our structure is going to change from like the material to the more loving divine. And as their stories get revealed, and as the things that they did that were unjust are revealed, like they will have to really reconcile with that within themselves. And I do feel okay with that, because I find that, when we humble ourselves and when we reconcile our past, we really do, that's a way to become closer to God. So I'm not like afraid for these people. It will be good in the end. So what I got after and I don't think it necessarily meant our president, although I did get this in July. I don't think it has anything to do with them. For me, it had to do with, in general, like the people that are motivated, were motivated by power and material gain, and kind of like the tit for tat society that kind of ruled by material, the protecting of self to keep the money, and not being like, how we're told to be, sharing and giving and empathic, that would lead to some kind of emotional heaviness, that they would step away from the leadership or the power structures that they hold. So then I was being shown with Neowise that the truths of what's important would get heavy on those that weren't focusing towards that. So they would go into like a, emotional reconciliation, and then that people would step forward to lead us, that were reluctant leaders. So of course God says the meek shall inherit the earth, and my guru was just talking about that today in a talk. So that resonated with me because of what I got for Neowise. That reluctant leaders that don't want to lead out of the gain of power, that truly want to lead and guide and teach because of a deep caring and empathy for what has gone on. So there will be certain people, certain teachers, certain leaders that will come, signified by Neowise, that really embody the ancient heart and the ancient soul and the ancient spirit that we should all be embodying. Because that is going to be that's the lighter way to lead. That's like the easier way to lead. I got from Neowise. Oh, yes. And I was just searching to see if there was anything else that I got with that. I did get that this change would come for some. I showed a lemon with juice. So for some that try and struggle against turning more to God and turning more to the divine ways and sticking to the story that has given them success in the past. Like I was shown lemon juice and like the cleaning of an object. So I really feel people that cling to that old truth of the material world and material gain will have a harder time with this. And this is only significant to me because I've been having dreams, not for now, but for in the spring, with people having a lot of mental hurts, mental like struggles. That's why I've been encouraging you guys to be more empathetic with people because, regardless of if people were, led by the material world before or not, or clung to success and titles, and even if they did, make wrong choices due to ego or due to not being close with the divine, like these people are fellow travelers and everyone has their own path. And of course, as a person close to God, you should always like be that open, safe space for other people. So in general, Neowise, the comet, showed up suddenly, just like some other things that happened in 2020. It's something from our ancestors, both personally and groups of ancestors that are bringing light to the truth of stories, reconciliation with stories that were not presented correctly. False persecutions, I know, are coming up a lot with Neowise, and that has something to do with the star Algol that I will present as well. And especially with the throwing away of the feminine wisdoms, with the science that's come up. The feminine wisdom is accepting. The feminine wisdom is the openness to receive. So with the science and even with the astrology, it is if we have thrown away other ways of receiving wisdom. And that is going to be reconciled as well. The science is working together with the wisdom. So that's going to be reconciled. The persecutions of peoples and even in your personal story where you've been, persecuted falsely, where you've had to stand up personally and risk things because of passion and truth in your heart and kind of fight for the right. Like you're going to be risen up because those people are protected now, and without you doing anything, like other people are going to be able to see that story. Now, to me, everything is literal, as with most astrologists. I think I'm ruled by Mercury, so you literally have to like, some things are literally right in front of your face. So when I heard of the coronavirus, I was like, oh, corona from the sun, like crown chakra. I might have talked about this before. And I know from a scientific fact that when you get a lot of solar flares, like when you get the eclipse, you get more electromagnetic energy coming in. And I do know that that will also, just like a full moon, will stress people out. So the fact that this is coming in at that time, stress people out or awaken them if they're able to sit silently. And I've said since the beginning of the year that 2020 is all about, you know, being taken away from the distractions so you can actually find the silence to listen to yourself. So, Neowise, significant and significant to other types of stories when it comes to the fixed stars. So, I am going to kind of build on that for you because I do believe that there's a big change specifically coming that is unveiling itself with Neowise that people are getting wise to, especially when it comes to like the worst star in astrology, the Medusa star, which has an amazing story behind it about the divine feminine and the reconciliation specifically of the divine feminine energies as well. So Neowise, from our ancients to enlighten us, to allow us to see the story. Its full name is C 2020 F3 Neowise. So that is a 9, something from the divine. Revealing this on a large scale. We don't have to try and prove this to anybody. It's just happening. And it's really to reconcile the polarization. That comet went right by Polaris too, so that makes sense. But I will do a video on specifically where Neowise tracks. I just actually looked up that today, and I'm like, this makes so much sense to the message that I got. So that is Neowise, and if any of you guys have any questions or anything about the fixed stars, I give a ton of thanks to Lada Juchveda. She has a ton of astrologers on her channel that do fixed stars. Trifon just read my chart last week, which really set me on this beautiful exploration of the fixed stars. And I did know that I had a message about Neowise, and I do feel that that story is changing. But there's a lot of really amazing fixed star astrologers out there. So if you want more information on the fixed stars, there's a lot of books for the, not the comments, but the fixed stars. There's a really good one by Bernadette Brady, Star and Planet Combinations, that will allow you to find some of those in your chart. Otherwise, you could go to any astrology website and kind of look those up for yourself. And I find that the fixed stars give a huge shortcut to your story and your kind of soul's path that's going on. So that is my short video on Neowise, and I will probably edit this and make a more professional version later, but I really felt like I had to get the Neowise story out because I really have a story about the feminine that I need to talk about right now as well. Because there's some stars that went in before the Great Conjunction. So thank you all for listening to me. And the most important part about my astrology videos is to see how these stars see what these, contemplate what these awaken in your life. Like if you've seen changes, if you've seen yourself drawn to ancient wisdoms or ancient topics, or, had some kind of revealing that resonates to your life. We had Comet Neowise, so that only makes sense. So that's a beautiful thing, and that is kind of confirmation to you. Perhaps you thought that some of these studies, instead of some of these ancient wisdoms, were one way, and then you looked into them and a bigger story was revealed to you. So that is also the story of Comet Neowise, and how that came into our life this year. So I am hoping you all have a beautiful night, and just enjoy the evening and the season.